Take your dealership to the next level with over 6,800 on-air interviews with dealer and industry leaders. CBT News, dealers' most trusted source for news, content, and analysis. Welcome to CBT News with Cheyenne Malone.
Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome back to CBT News. I'm Cheyenne Malone. Let's get started.
At a Bernstein conference, Ford and General Motors CEO clashed over the importance of hybrid vehicles. Ford CEO emphasized hybrids' profitability and long-term relevance, particularly for extended-range hybrids. In contrast, GM CEO dismissed hybrids as a long-term solution, highlighting the company's focus on fully electric vehicles to align with their zero-emissions goals. While Ford aims to increase hybrid sales significantly and has scaled back some EV incentives, GM plans to introduce plug-in hybrids by 2027 to meet regulatory demands. However, GM remains committed to an electric future. Both CEOs acknowledge the competitive pressure from Chinese automakers, with Fairley stressing the need for profitability in EV production and Barra highlighting the importance of cost efficiency in order to compete successfully. UAW President Shawn Fain will now oversee the union's Stellantis department, taking over from Vice President Rich Boyer, who retains his role in the union's competitive shops or independents, parts, and supplier departments. This decision, made without consulting the International Executive Board, has sparked frustration among some union members. This is the second recent leadership adjustment within the UAW following the reassignment of departments previously managed by Secretary-Treasurer Margaret Mock in February. Fain, Boyer, and Mock were all elected on a reform slate in the UAW's first direct election, a response to a corruption scandal involving former UAW officials and auto executives. Tesla is recalling over 125,000 vehicles in the U.S. due to a malfunction in the seatbelt warning system, which poses an increased risk of injury in collisions, according to the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The recall affects certain Model S, Model X, Model 3, and Model Y vehicles. The issue involves the seatbelt warning light and audible chime not activating when the driver is unbelted. Tesla plans to address this with an over-the-air software update in June, which will adjust the system to activate warning based solely on the seatbelt buckle and ignition status. This recall follows previous Tesla recalls, including 200,000 vehicles in January for a software malfunction affecting reversing visibility and nearly 4,000 Cybertrucks in April for an accelerator pedal issue. The U.S. Department of Labor filed a lawsuit on Thursday against Hyundai Motor, an auto parts plant, and a labor recruiter for the illegal use of child labor at an Alabama plant. The complaint, lodged in the U.S. District Court in Montgomery, targets Hyundai Motor Manufacturing Alabama LLC, Smart Alabama LLC, and Best Practice Service LLC for employing a 13-year-old who worked up to 60 hours per week on a smart assembly line. The suit seeks to recover profit related to the child labor violations. This follows a 2022 Reuters investigation revealing children, some as young as 12, working in Hyundai's supply chain. Hyundai, which has since cleared from Smart, stated it took extensive remedial measures and required supplier audit. The case highlights a broader issue with the Labor Department reporting a surge in child labor violations involving nearly 6,000 children in the 2023 fiscal year. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with Louis Heron, former dealer principal, business coach, entrepreneur, and author, to discuss how dealers can effectively cater to the needs of training both seasoned salespeople and newbies.
Hi, everyone. It's Cheyenne Malone with CBT News. You have to check out my new interview with Christine Vinatieri Erickson, president of the South Dakota Auto Dealer Association and South Dakota Trucking Association. We talked about her journey in the car business and what she believes is key to her success as a woman in this incredible industry. You won't want to miss it. Click the link right below to watch it right now. And thanks for watching CBT News. As always, the #1 source for auto industry news, content, interviews, and analysis.
How do you approach training both seasoned sales associates and new, somewhat inexperienced salespeople at the same time? Because every manager is always challenged with that. If you've got 10 or 15 or 20 salespeople in the bullpen, or I should say in the sales training room, you have kind of a mixture of all of it. So I'll let you pick it up from there.
Yeah, that's a funky dynamic, and I think that from a training perspective or a manager perspective, that takes a lot of skill level, because you've got the guys that are selling 17 to 20 cars a month, and number one, they think that's the pinnacle. They think that's the star of the where
That's
really
right.
I'm in stores all the time and I see guys selling 50 and 60 cars a month. So my first thought with the season guy is I can't barrage them with the basic fundamentals. I'm going to have to subtly come in the back door to cement those in. But what I have to coach and teach them is things that really make them think, oh my gosh, I never thought about that. Social media selling, working the service drive, learning word tracks and scripts that actually convince and persuade and motivate people to make decisions when they're not decisions to be made at that moment. That's how you mold. You got to take the guy selling 20 cars, convince him he can sell 50, end up around 35 or 40. Once he
Yeah.
sees that social proof, that guy can take off and run. But he's got to have skills and tactics to actually improve, because otherwise, what's it going to take to earn your business? And if I could, would you, is all he's got in his tool bag right now. So
That's
we've
right.
got to get him thinking different. For the green pea or the person that just started, to me, that is the honey hole, because although we may hire 10 guys at one time, there's always 2 to 4 of them that you can make special. I really believe that. I mean, you can't make a duck an eagle. I mean, not everyone's going to fly, but I think if you really pour in the time and, number one, get them thinking, number one, how good this business really is, right? I mean, you were a dealer, right, Jim? I mean, you've climbed up the ranks. I had the same good fortune, and many watching have done the same thing. That came from an inspiration of like, oh, there's something more here. Like, if I put in more effort, and if you can get the new guy to first see that, they will put in the work to do the blocking and tackling. And then we get into the basic sales process and really teaching these guys the bare bone fundamentals of just that handshake to taillight, what it takes to build a relationship, build a friend, do a proper needs assessment, understand what it takes to fact find properly, consult the consumer, help them buy something, not sell them something. And again, then they can have great experience, and then they can grow and go from 8 to 9 cars and get them to 15 to 18, and then work on them being more seasoned.
Well, that wraps up our show for today. I'm Cheyenne Malone. Thanks so much for watching. You have a good one.
CBT News, your #1 resource for auto industry news and content.